Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Chapter 1 Read Alouds. Once again, I am going to be reading a book that is featured in our wonderful virtual book fair that is going on until May 24th. So if you are interested in shopping after watching this video, then click on the link just below the video. Today, I'm actually going to be reading you the newest installment of the I Survive series, which is The Great Molasses Flood. So for those of you who did not even know there was a Great Molasses Flood, I know I didn't, there was. And here is the summary. There were warning signs that the molasses tank would break. The steel sides moaned and groaned. Molasses oozed from its seams. But the people of Boston's North End, mostly poor immigrants, were powerless to complain to the big molasses company. On a bright January day in 1919, the tank finally broke and almost 3 million gallons of molasses rushed the neighborhood. At 15 feet tall, 160 feet wide, and traveling at 35 miles per hour, the gooey wave was more destructive than any flood of water would have been. Lauren Tarshis tells the riveting story of one child who was swept up in a sticky storm and lived to tell the tale. So those of you who are fans of the I Survive series, the second graphic novel also has just been released. So the first one, which was The Sinking of the Titanic, was released last year. And just recently, the second book of the I Survive series, which is The Shark Attacks, was released in graphic novel form as well. So the first two I Survive books are out in graphic novel form, but if you love the I Survive books, then you will definitely like this one. So here's chapter 1. Wednesday, January 15th, 1919, around 12:30 p.m., the North End, Boston. 12-year-old Carmen Grasso was drowning. She was caught in one of the deadliest disasters in the history of Boston. A gigantic wave had crashed into the streets, a swirling, raging monster moving faster than a train. It turned buildings to rubble, it smashed wagons and motor cars, and tossed trucks into the harbor. 21 people would soon be dead. Many more would be fighting for their lives. This killer wave wasn't made of water. It didn't come from the sea. The monstrous wave was made of a thick brown syrup, molasses. For years, millions of gallons of sticky molasses have been stored in a building-sized metal tank. The hideous tank loomed over Carmen's neighborhood, blotting out the sun. And in one ear-splitting moment, the molasses tank had exploded apart. Carmen and her best friend Tony had watched in horror as the tank began to shake, as its rounded steel sides bulged in and out. The tank seemed to have come alive, as if it was boiling with fury, ready to destroy. And then suddenly, thousands of the steel bolts that held the tank together let go. Bang, 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 bang. They blasted through the air like bullets fired from a machine gun. Seconds later, the metal tank blew apart completely. Jagged chunks of metal whirled through the air like knife-winged birds. The molasses hovered in the air like a black rolling cloud. Then, with a thundering crash, it hit the ground. Instantly, the streets became raging rivers filled with wreckage. Chunks of wood and metal and glass overturned motor cars and wagons. Horses whinnied in fear. Screams of terror rang out. "Run! Get out of the way! Help me!" Carmen ran for her life, Tony right behind her. But the wave was moving too fast. Within seconds, the swirl of thick syrup had caught them. The molasses wrapped itself around Carmen's legs like millions of powerful snakes dripping with slime. It rose up to her waist, to her chest. She had to do something. And then she saw it, a broken wagon floating toward them. She and Tony both managed to climb on until a huge hunk of metal from the tank rammed into the wagon. Carmen tried to hold on as the wagon nearly flipped, but she slipped off and sank into the swirling flood of ooze. "Carmen!" Tony screamed. It was the last sound Carmen heard as the molasses rose up over her head and swallowed her whole. Ha! So that is chapter 1 of The Great Molasses Flood. So once again, if you are interested in this book or any other of the I Survive books, including the graphic novels, click on the link below, do some shopping before May 24th, and I'll see you next time on Chapter 1 Read Aloud.